Hey y'all, how you doing tonight? Thank you for joining us for another round of Invisible No More right here on the Eclipse Pain and Recovery Network. My name is Keith Johnson and I'm your host once again. Before we get into tonight though, a little bit of a trigger warning. This could quite be the closest to a political topic Invisible's ever covered. And y'all know Invisible politics is like the third rail, right? We don't see ourselves as red, blue, green, purple, or whatever. We see ourselves as a community of people that are dealing with some chronic diagnoses or some horrific symptoms, and we work together to have a better quality of life. We don't do politics, but unfortunately this topic tonight, it does have some political overtones to it. Even though I'm not going to trash any particular politician or any party, we'll be putting some blame on politicians, but we'll get to that shortly. Because what's the topic tonight? Getting your med card in the state of Texas, and my personal true belief that once you get past the stigma and decisions that you make, can make things a lot better for you. Let's get into it. Now, we've talked 100 times about, for me, my brain has to work in kind of a cost-benefit analysis on whether I try treatment or not. And again, that's where my brain went with getting my med card. Because to me, there are cons as well as pros associated with it. One of the cons to me is my personal stigma. Seeing my personal use history. Do I want to go back to where I was in junior high and high school and college? Right? But that was quickly overridden by the just atrocious amount of pain I've been in lately. And the hope that maybe I'll get some of these benefits. Am I looking for a complete solution? No, I don't ever expect a complete solution. But can it help me get better sleep? That's a victory. Can it help me deal with my pain to where I take one less pain med a day? Yeah, to me, that's a victory. So that was the personal stigma. It was really one of the biggest ones for me to overcome. Then stigma as well from society, from visibles, from our kids, from our parents, from our boss, because as soon as they hear that we're thinking about getting our medical card, they think one reason only.
Oh, you should be coming on pretty soon, dude. How much do you smoke?
This will be a little demonstration of that. Listen up. That was my skull. I'm so wasted.
That's what they see. They see us all as Spicoli from Fast Times, right? And I don't know about you, but my childhood, I lived Spicoli. Junior high, high school, college, and my first marriage. I lived it, possibly. Doctor, if you're watching, that's a possible. So to me, that's not a big deal. And because as I believe as a chronic pain patient or as invisible, I'm going to try anything I can get my hands on. And if the state makes this available, I'm going to try it. So you can think I'm going to go sit around and get baked all day long. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to try to be a little bit better. And if they don't ever understand that, that's okay. I'm fine with that. You know, I think that once they research how the state of Texas limits it, that they'll see that we're not. And you know, here's the second reason I call BS to it. Because a lot of politicians, regardless of their political party, when they voted against hemp, when they voted against compassionate use, they were taking money from the alcohol and beer and wine political action committees. Because if they sell something, there may be less of a need for what these people are promoting. And they don't see a problem going home at night, crack open a bottle of whiskey and down in 3 big drinks, right? Or going home and having a box of wine, or going home and drinking a 12-pack of beer. That's fine. But getting some mental relief from your medicine, that's not fine. I can't make it make sense, y'all. For the next con, it's going to be back to politics. And I guess you guys know I live in Texas, so you probably have an idea that I am a believer in the Second Amendment. Well, you can't have both in the United States. On the FFL form, this form that you fill out at let's say a sporting goods store if you're going to purchase a hand, boom. think it was line 21, specifically says, do you use or are you addicted to any illegal drugs? And they actually had updated some of the forms and specifically said included for medical reasons. If you say yes to that, the gun shop, sporting goods store won't even go further with the transaction because ATF will kick it back, because under current rules and regulations, you can't. Or if you lie on that and say, oh, no, I'm not, and you just check no and you go on your merry way, you get busted on that. That could be up to 15 years in jail for lying on that form. Plus, you lose your ability to ever own a weapon in the United States again. So that was probably took me almost the longest to get past, is that going into it to try to get relief, I would give up my personal constitutional right. But that's how bad my pain's gotten. So I don't necessarily blame the ATF. I blame the politicians that make them make the rules. But anyway, on a positive side to that, though, there was just a ruling this past Friday, Supreme Court. It was a case out of Texas. The feds did just that. They enforced that rule against somebody. They did a sweep of this guy's house. They found handguns, and he also admitted to smoking medical several times a week. And they hooked him up because of that line on the form, because you can't do medical use if you're gonna have a gun. So that case ended up at the Supreme Court, and as crazy as the Supreme Court in this country is right now, they never get along. But in this case, in a 9-0 vote, every liberal, every conservative on the court agreed, and they threw out the guy's conviction. They said that the United States as a federal government is sending conflicting news, like the president signed an executive order that supposedly helps change the schedule of cannabis for medical use to like a class 3. They've noted that most states you can get it medical or recreational. They noted a whole bunch of things, and they told the ATF to go take a hike and the feds to go take a hike. So supposedly there's a new rule coming out at the end of the summer to where it allows for medical use. But until then, you run the risk of losing your rights. All right, done with the politics, I think, for now. Okay, so that's my cost-benefit analysis. Some of the things that I went through in my brain and my body to determine if this is something I wanted to do. And obviously I said, yeah, this is something I want to go through and try. So let's get into some more of the 5 W's and a H regarding this. Who qualifies for it in the state of Texas? Well, before September 2025, not very many people, but the legislature finally opened it up. And in fact, chronic pain, and it's those words, diagnosis, is a qualifying condition for the compassionate use program, medical marijuana, here in Texas. They added some different things like PTS, cancer, TBI, neuropathy on its own. I'm not giving legal advice or telling you, or medical advice here. Talk to the clinic where you are going to get your card from, get your prescription from, to see if you qualify. But chronic pain by itself now is a qualifying reason to be able to join the compassionate use program in Texas. A little bit of weird things about Texas, though. Unlike a lot of other states, even Oklahoma, it's only available to the state of Texas residents only. Like Oklahoma will give you a 30-day pass. You could fly in from Detroit or from, I don't know, Tuscaloosa, go see a clinic, get your card written, go right to the dispensary and get it. Texas, no bueno, man. No bueno. You got to be a Texas resident. Other things that's a little weird that they do is how the state designates a dose in order to cover their butts to their voters, and in order to be able to tell voters, hey, we'll never have high dose gummies in the state of Texas. The legislator has written it so that one dose is 10 milligrams. That's the max. That's it. That's one dose. To me, a dose is whatever I take, right? Whatever's prescribed to me. Like 15 milligrams of Oxy 4 times a day. It could be one 15 milligram pill or 15 1 milligram pills. I don't care. My dosage is 15 milligrams. So what you may see once you get your prescription is the doctor may write it like mine is written in the daytime, 2.5 milligrams up to 7.5 milligrams per dose every 2 to 6 hours, right? So, and if the state says a dose is 10 and I'm only taking 5, it means I'm cutting a state dose in half. Same thing goes when my nighttime script, I can take up to 20, but the state legislature dose is 10. But you're allowed to take whatever the doctor prescribes you. So don't get hung up on what the state says the dose is. Follow what the prescriber tells you is your dose. That's what I would always go back to. Again, this is not legal and or medical advice. Talk to the medical professionals. They know this better than any of us do. So get it straight from their mouth. All right, so with all of that, how do you do it? Where do you go? What's the how? Step 1, make an appointment with a clinic that specializes in writing prescriptions in the state of Texas for medical cannabis. That's your first. Again, some will make you pay up front, some will give you a money back guarantee. If you don't qualify, do your own research, talk to friends. Mine was great, and they were simple, easy to use. I'm not going to name them because I don't want to get in trouble with anybody, but I'll share their information if you want to reach out. So that's step 1. I also would recommend getting either your medical records or at least a letter from your doctor, because when you go to in, this is a new care team. They're not going to know you from Adam. So I took in a letter that my pain doc had written saying that, I've been a chronic patient for God knows how long. These are some of the diagnoses I have. So that way you're making the new prescriber feel more comfortable when they're adding you to the system. So that would be, number 2. Number 1, you make the appointment. Number 2, you do the evaluation. Number 3, once you're active in the system, you can reach out to one of the licensed dispensaries in the state of Texas. And there's like a Texas Original, Good Blend is another one. And like I went to one of their websites, and then I called them and I ordered what I wanted. And then I had to go Saturday to the actual dispensary. That was a trip, and pick it up and pay for it at the dispensary, and that's it. So what and keep in mind, in Texas, once again, there is no actual medical card. There is no card. It's all tied to your driver's license. And for some reason, the legislature has this database saved and processed by DPS, which is the Texas State Police. So it's an expensive system, and there's a lot of bureaucratic hoops that we have to go through, and there's a whole bunch of uneducated societal stigma and our own stigmas. But for a lot of us invisibles out there that are running out of options, maybe this is an option for you. And what I wanted to get across tonight was my cost benefit, because I think I'll relate to a lot of people. I wanted to go also some of the hangups with getting it, and because I think if it's an opportunity to be better, I'm not expecting to be cured, but I just want to be better. So leave me your thoughts. If you get something out of this, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, share it with other people, because it's not that bad. This is another edition of Keith Tries It, where actually it was pretty damn easy. And if I can pull it off, I'm confident so many more can. We love you guys. Please be safe. And until next Thursday night, here's to a better day. Peace.